Look at the way they're standing. Look at them. Look at them. And they're not like, the thing I love about this is, and why I talked about it in the other video I made, is like they're doing this, right? Like they're moving into one another, and like this is a very coupley stance. Like this is the way they would pose for a picture as boyfriend and girlfriend, and it's almost like that idea hasn't like left either one of them. It's like their bodies forgot that they broke up. Like their brains and their hearts. Yeah, what am I trying to say? Their bodies just don't know, but their brains and their hearts do. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And this, it's interesting to me. So like we go from something like this, very I don't want to keep using the word intimate, very subtle, very soft, very intimate, very coupley, very lived in. We go from this, neither of them call attention to it. There's nothing on their faces that go, hey, this is weird, because it's just, to them it's just normal, right? But then we go from this to then that Jeremiah and Belly moment where it's just like very choreographed, very pointed, very scripted. Like we need Jeremiah to say like, you don't have to hurt yourself to like get my attention, whereas like Conrad and Belly just automatically have one another's attention, and their way that their bodies just like move towards one another. Like again, yeah, there's nothing that you have to script or I mean, they could have very well, the way they move as actors, the way Chris and Lola are moving as actors very well is choreographed, but the way they play Belly and Conrad, there's no choreography. They're just naturally this way together, because again, that's just the way they are. Like their bodies are like, yes, let us be this way together, because like this is the way things are meant to be. Anyway, I don't know if any of that makes sense, but that's why I love, like, look at them. Look at this. Like, it's so... And then obviously this is really sweet. But, like, okay, his hand... Like, everything about it, like, the way they curve into one another. His hand is awfully close to her boobs. But, again, they know one another's body very intimate. Like the most intimate you can know one another's body. And, like... This is reflected, I feel, in the way that they are like this with one another, but they don't call attention to that, which is like, that's so real. That's how you are in real life. Anyway, I'll stop going on because I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I love it. I love it so much. Okay, I love that we might be getting this, because I think it's really important that we do get Conrad's POV, because I really think that's been lacking quite a bit. And I also love this idea, like if you think about how Conrad heard Jeremiah say he's gonna break your heart, like Conrad presumably heard him say those things about like, how could you do this to me? That whole thing. Like, yeah, Conrad's just gonna fuck it up. And then if you think then to the scene on the beach, Conrad, there's no sense in his mind then. Like, he hears that from his brother and he doesn't go, yeah, I will fuck it up. Like, I shouldn't be with her. Like, that doesn't deter him, which I really love, but it deters Belly. And it doesn't, like, that particular line doesn't deter her, but the whole idea of it hurting Jeremiah deters her. So I just love this idea of neither Conrad or Belly agree to that. Like, yeah, he will break your heart. Even though you could argue he did break her heart, you could also argue that she broke his. And it sort of, you have to see that heartbreak in the context of, like, Susanna fucking dying. And it's not that Conrad, like, fell out of love with her and that's why he broke her heart. Like, he broke her heart because he couldn't, like, function as a human being, you know, dealing with his grief. So, yeah, I do love that sense of, even when he heard those things from his brother, he didn't hold it against his brother, or he didn't use it as, like, this argument for why him and Belly shouldn't be together. He was like, no, like, I refuse to agree that that's what I'm going to do, and, like, him just not believing that was going to be the case. So I love that. And then I just love this sense of Conrad. I mean, I'm a bit torn whether or not I like this idea of him listening in, even though Belly said to him, like, I've got it. And so I don't love the idea that he might have listened in, like, because he should have respected that. And, like, it's pretty private for him to be there listening in on this conversation. But at the same time, I do like this idea of him standing there and waiting.
I mean, you could argue that they should have talked to Jeremiah together, but I do love the sense of him standing there to protect Belly in a way, or like just to make sure he would be there to support her. Like, even though he can't be in the room, he's there like outside of the room to support her in this really difficult conversation with his brother, knowing it would hurt Jeremiah. Or, well, actually, Conrad doesn't think it will hurt Jeremiah, but Belly does. And so just with the idea that Conrad was standing there listening in, waiting to see what was going to happen. Yeah, it's interesting. And but I love that we're going to get it, hopefully. His POV. Okay, Rebecca. The accuracy of this. A random stranger seeing them would definitely think they were a couple. This is so accurate. And it's accurate because I want you all to look at these two pictures. Like, look at that top. They're more coupley in the top cap than they are in the bottom one. And they were madly in love in the bottom one. I mean, they're madly in love in the first one, but you know what I mean? It's just like... And yeah, just the idea of like somebody from the outside not really knowing what was going on definitely would think they were a couple. And they would just be like... It would just be assumed. You know what I mean? Or at least like looking at Conrad's face. Holy shit. Anyway, but yeah, your comment immediately made me think of this picture. And just, yeah, putting it side by side. And, well, his expression being almost identical. Which again, like, really tells you that neither of their feelings have changed, but in this sense of him being like, I thought you knew how much I loved you, whereby we can very clearly see it, and other people would be able to like very clearly see it, but yeah, she wasn't able to, or he didn't do a very good job of telling her or making it clear. Just because he's looking at her like that doesn't mean because in both pictures she's not aware of the way he's looking at her, which is a whole other thing I will get into in another video. But anyway, Becca, you're so accurate. Yeah, I really liked your comment.
Oh my god, there's like obviously a lot to talk about, but like this is the main thing I can think about from this trailer. The way he's kissing her fingers. Are you freaking kidding me? No thoughts, brain completely empty other than thinking about this, and like, oh my god. Oh my god. Also, this is somewhat related, but I was thinking, like, with her putting her hand up to the necklace, sort of almost as if she's touching her, she's putting her hand to her heart, reminded me of this shot where Conrad is putting his hand to his heart in what people are guessing is him having a panic attack. And I don't think this symmetry is at all intentional, but I just love this idea that the two of them, like, put their hands on their hearts as a way of, like, trying to, like, locate one another within, like, a space of, like, not being together. Like, it's their way of, like, connecting back in with each other, even when they're not together, if that makes any sense. So I love, like, even subconsciously, I mean, I don't think this is actually the case, this is just completely my headcanon, but I just love the idea of, like, when Conrad is so panicky, he puts his hand to his chest, to his heart, where the necklace, where Belly's necklace would be, but also where his heart is. His heart belongs to Belly. He can't be with Belly right now, so it's a way of, like, being with her, or, like, trying to be with her. Does this make any sense? Anyway, these two shots reminded me of one another, just because of the way they're both, it's so similar in terms of the way they're touching their chest or their heart, and yeah, I don't think it was intentional at all, but I just, yeah, it, like, struck me as being a kind of interesting, that symmetry between them.